Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of The Walk Around. Grab some popcorn, get some drinks, and enjoy the show. Alrighty, what's up guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of The Walk Around. Now this is episode 3/4 because this month we're just waiting for it to get indicators and then we're going to do this one. So then I actually think that this is then the CBR is episode 3. This was supposed to be episode 3, but yeah, we're just waiting for the indicators to go on there and then this one will come up. And today we have this absolutely beautiful 2010 CBR1000, and this one guys is selling for 104,900. So yeah guys, as we always do, we're normally just gonna actually have a look at any sort of modifications that we got going on, and then from there we'll just have a look at a little bit of the damage here and there, just sort of things I want to bring your attention to. And that's also with the modifications, you know, some of this stuff might not be a modification, but you know, I just want to kind of chat about it to you guys, and then yeah, at the end get a nice little startup going so you guys can get a real good idea of what these things sound like. And then somewhere in between along the line, I'll give you guys a little bit of an idea of how these things perform, because I have ridden a lot of these CBRs. I've ridden every single 1000cc bike there is, so yeah, this time around I can actually give you guys a somewhat decent idea in terms of how these things perform. And it is actually one of my favorite 1000s, and there's a very specific reason for that. So yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, as I said guys, 2010, and there we go, 35,000 k's. That's really nice. That's a really decent amount of mileage. Not too much, not too little. Well, I don't think you can have too little mileage. But yeah, I think this is a very well priced bike, considering your mileage and your model. And yeah, these things are super nice bikes, especially Honda in South Africa. It's a good one to go with. There's a lot of service centers available. Obviously we can also service it for you, and yeah, parts are pretty readily available for these things, which is quite nice. Yeah guys, let's jump into any sort of modifications / things I just want to bring your attention to. Now first things first, we got to talk about the little muffler on here. It is a nice Yoshimura muffler. It is not a full system or anything like that, but yeah, I love they've on the CBR1000s. I don't know who does all the exhausts on these, but every single CBR1000 I've seen with a long pipe, they do it like this, where it's still kind of tucked away and it doesn't come out, and it looks brilliant. It looks really nice. Then obviously you guys will see one and only Dewet&Bikes tank pad. Very nice. Grips, nothing too crazy going on here guys. Obviously you can see you've got some nice little bar ends, so if you do drop the bike, it is going to protect that lever there, and it might actually protect some of your fairings. Then at the back here we do have a nice tail tidy, so we don't have that whole bracket coming out there at the back. This is actually super nice. This looks really good. Love what they've done with that. Foot pegs, shifter, foot brake, all of that is pretty much stock guys. Stock seats. I must say the seats are pretty comfy on these. I've never had any complaints about the CBR1000 seats. Got a nice fresh chain on there. That looks super nice. And I think we actually have a relatively new sprocket on here as well. So yeah, no, that's super nice. Unfortunately, I can't get a good look at that front sprocket for you guys. Mirrors, we've got stock mirrors. One of the things that's super nice about Honda is that because they put the indicators in the mirrors, you don't have the little indicators that normally stick out here on the side. So yeah, love it or hate it, I think it looks super nice. And it's it's similar with the Suzukis, you know, they put the indicators in the mirrors and it just works super nicely. You know, you kill two birds one stone. Obviously you can get the winglet mirrors that sort of just come out and then they're straight, and then you do get the ones with the indicators. Otherwise in this case you would probably just maybe find a way to stick the indicators here or something like that. But yeah, and then another pretty nice thing, I'm pretty sure it is aftermarket. I haven't seen a lot of them with the steel braided lines, but we've got steel braided lines up front and also over here at the rear. And yeah guys, I think that's pretty much about it. We don't have any shorties or anything like that, but I do see that this is adjustable. Super nice. At least we're just going to jump over onto any sort of damage. I'll also talk about stuff like the tires here. I mean, I'd say you've at least got 70% left of that tread on the front, and on the rear I'd say about 60 to 70. It's a pretty fresh tire actually. It's just a little rock. No, these tires are very fresh. I'd say also 70 on the back, if not 70, 65. So yeah, tires are nice and fresh. As you can see, you've just got a few scuffs here, a little bit of the paint coming off there on the tank, and then you'll just see here on the front guys, it's just a few paint chips from stones being flung up onto the bike. So this guy was riding behind somebody with a sticky rear. And then you'll see these little kind of sticky pieces here, so that you can actually go and put on some covers, and that's why these headlights are still in such good condition, because they actually had covers on them previously, just keeping them looking nice and spiffy. No damage on the front here. The rim is all looking pretty snazzy. Fork seals are good. That's one of the first things we checked. Rear rim is looking good, guys. No major dents or scuffs or anything like that. Just a little bit of rust here and there, nothing major whatsoever. Coming around to this side of the bike, there's really no damage. I don't think this thing has been dropped, in all honesty, because if it has, most of the time these are going to be a little bit scuffed up, and also the bar ends, but this is all still looking very nice. Also, we've got a stock shifter, so it hasn't been dropped to the point where that shifter broke, or if it did, they've replaced it. But you can see that there is some wear and tear on the outside here, so that tells me that it's actually been there for a while, which means I don't think it's been dropped. This casing is still looking really nice. It's nice and warm actually, because the mechanics come in and start all the bikes every morning, just make sure that they're still running and working nicely. Now this casing as well, nice and fresh, no major scuffs or anything like that. Fairings are in good condition, just a few chips here and there from the stones once again. Got a nice little exhaust plate over there. It's also something that I see on a lot of the CBRs. Just finishes it off nicely there and kind of keeps that, the rest of that link pipe hidden. Yeah, guys, this is a pretty damn clean bike, I must say. If it was a 2008, I would be salivating. That's just the year model that I like. Let's give it a little start up. Here we have it, guys. So I'll just let it warm up a little bit, and then yeah, I'll give you guys a few reps, and then yeah, I'll just kind of talk a little bit about how this thing performs and what to look out for and all those sorts of things. Alrighty. Very nice sounding bikes, I must say. Nothing too crazy, but as soon as you start getting up in the high revs, they actually start making a lot of noise. But yeah, guys, in terms of performance, I must say, unfortunately, these are sort of your quote-unquote slowest 1000s. They're not getting too crazy up there in the top ends and your top speed runs and all those sorts of things. But there's a bit of a pro to that, and personally I find these sort of 2011 and below, I would say 06, 07, 08 to about 2011, 2012, they are some of the most nimble 1000s I've ever ridden, without a doubt. It's just mainly the ergonomics, just the way you're positioned on that bike makes it so nimble. I mean, I've seen a lot of people pulling some pretty crazy wheelies on these things, and yeah, I think it just comes down to they're actually very easy to ride. Their power is quite manageable, but going back to the sort of wheelie thing, I think it also comes down to positioning on the bike. You've just, purely because of where you are, handlebars and foot peg positioning, it's just so easy to control and kind of get a good feel of the bike at all times. Actually, you know, it's so easy to dip into corners. It's so willing. It's not like, you know, the Jigsaw 1000s, I found that they actually resist quite a bit. You know, you'll be turning, they're resisting, and then all of a sudden it'll go. With these, it's just smooth. It's a very nimble bike. Turns on a dime. The only downsides is your power only really kicks at about 7,000 or 8,000 RPMs. Yes, it's a sport bike, so it's kind of expected. However, yeah, once you get to about 9,000 RPMs, this thing wakes up, and yeah, no, there's a lot of power, but yeah, it is one of the downsides. You do get that power a little bit later on, and then obviously the other downside is you're just lacking a little bit of top end, you know, but that's not to say that it's not a crazy fast bike. You know, this thing's definitely going to get up to like 300 k's an hour, if not more. So yeah, but once again, guys, it's just very nimble, a nice peppy bike. It actually feels more like a 750 to me, and yeah, I must say I'm definitely a fan of the kind of smaller, lightweight, nimble bikes, and this speaks to me, honestly. If there was, obviously I do like the sort of 2014 ZX10s and stuff. I do find them a little bit nimble, but again, not as crazy as this, not as sharp and maneuverable. So at the end of the day, I'll probably get this if I'm going to go on track and do twisties and that sort of stuff. But if I'm going to do any sort of elevator,
Red is the winner.
yes, I'm doing it. Yes,
We need to show you the trophy.
yes. Yeah, you guys will see that. That's we actually did an off-road race over the weekend, and your boy placed third. Yes. But yeah, as I was saying, I'd probably get one of these for a little bit of twisty riding. But if I'm going to do sort of, like, let's talk tracks. If I'm going to go to Red Star, I would like to take this. If I'm going to go to Swartkorps, I'm going to take a ZX10. And Red Star, very twisty, turny. Swartkorps, there's a few long straights and it's not as kind of sharp. So then I'll take the ZX10 there. But I think I also just need to kind of get a little bit of a feel, a little bit of a better feel of the 1000s, because I do see those ZX10s being absolutely flung around the track. But yeah, me personally, I just found these things they're just so easy to ride. The power is very manageable, especially the power band, the way it kicks. Yeah, guys, just almost nothing but good things to say about it. As I said, you're just lacking a little bit of that low end power. And then obviously just a little bit in the top end, but this thing's mid-range torque is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, I must say. And yeah, I think this is probably going to be my first 1000cc bike. Probably, as I said, 2008 to 2010, because they're also very well priced. I mean, this is 1049 with 30,000 Ks and it's a 2010, so yeah, definitely, well, most probably going to be my first 1000 to say the least. And yeah, guys, this has gone on a little bit longer than usual. So I'm just going to wrap things up here. Guys, I hope you all enjoyed. And if you have any questions, just drop them down there in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you in episode 4. That's it from me today, guys. Hope you all enjoy. Peace.